Good afternoon. I'm Mark Allen with Gaper IO, and I'm here today with Erin Lear, the CEO of Lear Academy. Good afternoon, Eric.
Good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yourself?
I'm doing really well, thank you.
I have to tell you, this is the first podcast I've done with someone wearing a hat like that. It's really quite stylish.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that.
It looks very nice. So
Mhm.
to get started, can you share a brief background of yourself and your work experience?
Sure. So I grew up in aviation. My grandfather was the inventor of the Lear jet and Motorola. I kind of grew up, with Moya Lear, my grandmother, taking over Lear Fan and running that business out of the Stead Reno Airport hangar that we owned. And have just always had a great passion for aviation and pilots. And the innovation aspect of airplanes. And I also went into real estate, got my real estate license. I've dabbled in a lot of different investment opportunities. And most recently, I have come to realize that we really need more pilots. There's a major pilot shortage, and statistically only less than 5% are women, female pilots. So I'm hoping to crush those stigmas and shift them and bring a new era and back into aviation. So we're bringing into a new style back into aviation and making it fun again. Yeah. So I've had a series of journeys along the way. And I'm really happy to be on this particular journey and just continuing the Lear legacy.
Oh, that's very interesting, very worthwhile. I admit I've traveled a fair amount, and you're right. Most of the professional pilots are males, but it is nice every now and then you hear that female voice come over and it's a little more soothing.
Yeah.
So it's nice. And my father was a pilot, so we should have a lot in common here.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So
I love it. What kind of airplanes did he fly?
He flew. He had Cessna. He had some 4-seaters and some 6-seaters. He had small ones. He actually worked at the FAA. So.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll need to get his number then.
Yeah, I also grew up around airports. So,
oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what has been your experience with remote employment? Going on a different term, more my work, both as an employer and an employee.
So as an employer, being remote, it's been interesting. I've been working a lot from my computer. And since we're in the startup phase, it kind of allowed us to kind of slow down and really catch up while we're kind of in this waiting period. I've been talking to a lot of venture capitalists and angel investors. We've been communicating back and forth and really working on, setting up our team properly and communicating to different people just regarding, setting that up. And it's been, I personally like it. I feel like I get more work done when I'm at home because I allow myself to really focus. When I'm not at the airport, I can just be here with my laptop and my dogs are here, and it's nice. I kind of feel like I actually get more done because I'm always around my computer.
Yes, no, I know. I've worked from home for 10 years and I'm hearing more and more on podcasts, people saying I'm amazed that I get more done. And most people thought the opposite would be true.
Yeah.
And it's true. People are getting more done because unless you have little kids around, you have less distractions.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different topic, having, a 3 or a 4-year-old at home. So
yeah.
Luckily my youngest is 30, so I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah, we don't have kids, but we do have fur babies.
Okay. So what do you think is the future of remote employment? And now that you're new to it, what do you think can be done differently to make it more effective?
Well, I think we need more platforms like Zoom, but that are a little bit more protected. I feel that creating those live stream capabilities and business meetings are actually really safe and effective. So creating more platforms like that and more ways to communicate with your teammates, it's just, I think that's really the most beneficial thing coming out of this.
Yeah. And since you're an academy, you train pilots, correct?
Yes.
So have you looked at any remote training?
Yes. Absolutely. So part of our school is going to have a lot of really user-friendly educational online platforms. We're looking into some VR.
Mhm.
We're kind of, still in the beginning stages of that, but we really think now more so than ever that that's going to be really desirable to more people coming out of this interesting historical time
Mhm.
to be able to take the ground schooling online with
Mhm.
also home VR sets that are affordable, and then doing the work that needs to be done in the actual airplanes and logging the hours at the
Mhm.
airport.
Yeah, and I remember right. I mean, if I remember right, when my dad was going for his license, isn't it? I forget it was 1,000 or 10,000 hours in the air you needed. Do you remember?
That's for a CFI and above in the commercial. We're looking like if you go down a little bit farther,
Mm-hmm.
we want to work with light sport license or do the license. Um, the way it works is it's first the light sports license and then your private, and then it goes up from there.
Okay. Yeah, and he
So
did
it's
have.
about like 60 to get your private.
Oh, okay, that's great because he did get his commercial license, so
Yeah,
he actually had a freight business that he ran.
amazing.
Yeah.
So part of our school and how we're different from the other schools is we're going to be eventually bringing on the electric airplane, and we're first to market with that. We have a pretty good relationship with George By, the inventor of the E-Flyer, and we're looking at the FAA giving us full certification by 2021. We're hoping that still stays that way after this pandemic. But with that said, we also have the Pipistrel Alpha Electro, which is a light sport aircraft, and that is actually, we're just waiting to hear from the FAA to see if it's the exemption gets passed. So we are like looking at the clock, waiting for an answer from them. And when that hits, we'll hopefully be able to use it for our schools and training. As of right now, it's an experimental aircraft. It is from Slavia. I'm sorry, Slavia. It's from
Slovakia.
Slovenia.
Okay.
And that aircraft is an experimental aircraft right now and can be flown out in Fresno right now. And there's one in Compton, at the Compton airport. And it's to really help kids get intrigued with the idea of having a pilot's license. And also the benefactor is also that it helps create it a little bit more affordable for people to now obtain a license. So we're going to be, refreshing that information and making sure that people are aware. And the electric airplane is going to be that catalyst for us.
Great. That's great news. So it's exciting. I know my dad would love this. So
Yeah, it's a
so
new time.
yes, it is. So what is the story behind Lear Academy and what's the journey been like?
Well, the story behind Lear Academy is pretty interesting. Besides the fact of having, the Lear name and all that, the interesting factor is shifting people's perception from like it being expensive to, and also male dominant. So we feel that, this is just an amazing time, and we started about a year ago, and we kind of shifted from an actual academy, from an air taxi company, which is Uber and Lyft are all doing these companies that are short point-to-point distances to get around traffic at a cost-effective way, So that's going to be really scalable once these electric airplanes come out.
Mhm.
And the VTOL and electric airplanes are right around the corner. The time is, the next 3 to 5 years. So we really started with our air taxi company, and then just realized after all the research that we had done that we really need more pilots.
Mhm.
And I just got inspired, to be able to provide that outlet for women, for Anybody, millennials or younger generation that are interested in taking this journey, and you don't have to have a college degree. I mean, these are all things that I think that need to be reintroduced into, that market, and help people realize that, it's attainable, and it's doesn't even take like that long, depending on what what certificate you want to get.
Yeah, and having been up in small airplanes myself, I can tell you it's quite thrilling, and especially when the pilot. I never flew one myself. My dad was always next to me. It's really a thrill, and you can see that it's he loved it. I know that. So
yeah, I love it. I mean, once you get up there, you feel like you're floating on the cloud, and there's no need to wear a mask up there in your training and unless you have a co-pilot, of course, but you feel like you're on top of the world.
Yeah, I agree. So the current pandemic forced a lot of companies to go remote. Now, I don't know how much of your company was remote before this, but what kind of roadblocks and challenges did you run into? Like, it was about 6 weeks ago now.
Sure. I would have to say, in full transparency, funding has been a little tough. We've gotten a couple people who are really, really close to sending us a check, and then the stock market crashed. So we've had a little bit of a challenge, and taking a step back and going, okay, what are we going to do? This is like obviously a really rough time for the airplane community. So we have a great idea, and it's really about setting ourselves up for the next year, so that when all this is done and we're able to reintroduce this new era into aviation with electric airplanes and bringing more females in, that that's what's going to set us up for success in the future. But yeah, I mean, like, the funding aspect, we actually did get an investor who's all about it, and he's excited to work with us. And but he was the only one. We had a couple other people, just get scared. And people are good; they're coming back around. But it's definitely something that's scary. When you see all these other airlines that are taking a dive in the industry for temporary reasons. It's scary, but I'm not as scared anymore. I really see the shift in a positive way. I think that our economy is going to bounce back more than ever, and it's actually, I've had also investors tell me I'm actually in a really good position. Whether or not that was the right investor for us, that's what we're doing. Our main prerogative is really sitting here and helping provide an opportunity for potential investors that are interested to jump on board with us and get us ready for when we do bounce back.
And that actually leads me right into my next question. Great segue there, Erin.
Hey.
I feel what's going to happen is, right now everybody's kind of in that wait and see mode. But once the economy opens back up, there's just going to be, depending what industry, and there's going to be this flood of business, and a lot of people aren't ready for it. So what do you think of companies that offer remote employees? You think that's something you would actually consider, because it's going to be hard to find local people, and so you might have to go outside to get people to work for you?
I think for anything administrative, I mean, our locations are, we're not huge chain corporations. So I'm not really worried about that, other than hiring people that, are able to do their jobs remotely. And I support that.
Well, good. Yeah. And obviously we do too. So,
Yeah.
Well, Erin, this has been fascinating. I love your story. I wish you all the best. I will actually pass on your information to my daughter. Maybe she'll get the bug. That would be interesting.
Oh, yay. I love it. Thank you.
Following her grandfather's shoes, So, and I want to thank you for your time today. This has been great.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a great day.
You too.